Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're stepping away, maybe taking a necessary detour from what's often been called the scorched earth approach in cancer care. You know, the really tough, high-dose systemic chemo.
Yeah, that traditional model.
Exactly. We're jumping into something different, a highly specialized frontier that's offering, well, a lot of hope.
A new direction, really.
It's called Arterial Infusion Immunotherapy, or AII. It's this powerful dual-action strategy that seems to represent a big shift towards precision, towards intelligence in medicine.
Especially how it's being used and really refined in leading medical centers over in China.
Right, so our mission today is kind of threefold. First, let's unpack the two main parts of this therapy. They're quite different.
Very different mechanisms at play.
Second, we need to figure out why they work so well together, like a 1-2 punch, especially for cancers that were, previously very hard to treat.
That synergy is crucial.
And finally, let's get into the bigger picture. This pretty profound philosophical shift it brings, moving away from just destruction towards, well, sustainable management.
Yeah, I think this deep dive is important because we're not just talking small tweaks here. It's more like a fundamental rethink of the strategy.
How so?
Well, you're pairing this highly localized, concentrated power with the body's own sort of built-in defense system. It's sophisticated, it really is.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Starting with the precision bit.
Yeah.
Regional arterial infusion, or AI. You mentioned traditional chemo being like saturation bombing.
Right, hitting everything. Good cells, bad cells.
So arterial infusion, the sources we looked at call it a precise strike. What does that actually look like?
It means you're essentially bypassing the whole body's circulation system, for the most part, to hit one target. So instead of putting drugs in a vein where they get diluted and spread everywhere, you're using these tiny catheters to deliver the anti-cancer drugs right into the specific artery feeding the tumor.
Ah, okay. I remember seeing an analogy about that, like drip irrigation for one specific plant, not flooding the whole field.
That's a great way to put it. And the difference in drug concentration at the tumor site, it's huge.
How huge are we talking?
Specialists report getting concentrations that can be, depending on the drug and the organ, maybe 10, even up to 20 times higher than what you could safely handle with standard systemic chemo.
20 times higher. Wow. Okay, that sounds like a massive boost for effectiveness, but what about the patient? What does it feel like for them?
That's the key benefit, really. It means you can use much lower overall doses systemically.
Ah, so less travels through the rest of the body.
Exactly. You concentrate the punch right where it's needed, and that dramatically cuts down on those, really debilitating side effects, the severe nausea, the hair loss, that crushing fatigue.
So better quality of life during treatment.
Massively better, while still effectively debulking the tumor, shrinking it down significantly from the inside.
Debulking?
Oh.
Sound like just shrinking. But you mentioned it's strategic. What makes it strategic?
And absolutely strategic. And it's only possible because of some pretty advanced tech. We're talking highly precise imaging navigation down to the sub-millimeter level.
Okay.
And these specialized microcatheters, they're incredibly fine and flexible. The expertise, particularly in those top Chinese centers, is about getting that catheter tip exactly where it needs to be. Maximum drug concentration, minimal damage to healthy tissue nearby. It's almost an engineering feat enabling the medicine.
Right. Precision engineering meets medicine. But even the best local strike, as you said, might miss tiny cells that have already spread.
Correct. That's the limitation of a purely local approach.
Which brings us perfectly to the second part, waking the guard, the role of immunotherapy.
The intelligence part of the equation.
Yeah. We know cancer's sneaky. It has this biological cloaking device, right? It hides from our immune system, our T cells.
It does. It exploits the body's natural checks and balances, the immune checkpoint pathways. The common one is PD-1, PD-L1.
Explain that a bit more.
Sure. Think of PD-L1 on the cancer cell like a little flag that says, "Don't shoot me," or "I'm one of you," to the T cells. The T cells have a receptor called PD-1. When PD-1 on the T cell connects with PD-L1 on the cancer cell, it basically tells the T cell to stand down, ignore this cell.
So it's hiding in plain sight, using the body's own off switch.
Exactly. It's a very effective disguise.
So if cancer uses that checkpoint to hide, how does the immunotherapy, specifically these PD-1 inhibitors they use, how do they work?
They block that interaction. The inhibitor drug essentially gets in the way. It prevents the PD-1 and PD-L1 from connecting. It rips that "don't shoot me" disguise right off the cancer cell.
Okay, so it unmasks the cancer.
Precisely. By blocking that pathway, you're effectively sounding an alarm bell. You're forcing the T cells to suddenly recognize the cancer cells as invaders, dangerous ones.
And then the immune system attacks.
Then the immune system can launch its own powerful targeted attack, systemically. It's about teaching the body to fight for itself again. That's the real beauty of immunotherapy.
It sounds like a perfect match. Local destruction plus systemic defense. But you mentioned earlier, each one has limits on its own.
They do. AI is precise, but it's local.
Yeah.
Immunotherapy is systemic, but it can struggle against big, dense tumors.
Okay, so how does putting them together overcome those weaknesses? This is the 1-2 punch, right? Section 3.
This is really the core of it, yeah. The big challenge for immunotherapy alone is often what we call the tumor microenvironment, the TME.
The TME.
Yeah, think of a large, dense tumor like a fortress. It's not just a lump of bad cells. It actively creates an environment around itself that suppresses the immune system. It pushes immune cells away, even the activated T cells.
So the T cells might be ready to fight, but they can't even get into the fortress.
Or they get in and they're immediately shut down by the suppressive environment. The density, the types of cells within the tumor shield the cancer.
So AI alone shrinks the tumor, but might miss distant cells. Immunotherapy alone might be blocked by the tumor's defenses.
Exactly, you see the problem. But together,
They solve it.
they create this really elegant tactical sequence. The arterial infusion acts as the first wave. It doesn't just shrink the tumor, it blasts open that fortress.
Disrupts the TME you mentioned.
Precisely. The high-dose local chemo disrupts that immunosuppressive environment. It makes the remaining cancer cells much more exposed, more vulnerable,
And then comes the second wave.
which is the immune system already activated by the PD-1 inhibitors. Now that the fortress walls are down, those T cells can flood in.
So they can finally reach the enemy.
It can reach them, recognize them because the disguise is off, and destroy them. And crucially, they do this systemically, hunting down any cancer cells that might have escaped, wherever they are in the body.
That synergy sounds powerful on paper. But are we seeing it translate into real results? Better outcomes?
Oh, absolutely. The improvements are quite dramatic, especially in cancers that were historically very difficult. Think about advanced liver cancer or pancreatic cancer.
Notoriously tough ones.
Exactly. With traditional treatments, the objective response rates, meaning significant tumor shrinkage, might have hovered around, say, 20%, maybe a bit more.
Okay.
Some of the studies we looked at using this combination approach, they're showing objective response rates jumping significantly, sometimes into the 60 or even 70% range for certain groups of patients.
60 to 70%. That's a huge leap.
It is. It really changes the whole outlook. It shifts the conversation from maybe adding a few extra months to potentially achieving long-term stable control of the disease. That's the power of getting these two therapies working together.
When you get results like that, better response rates.
Yeah.
Fewer side effects. It must force a rethink of the entire goal. Which brings us to Section 4, this new philosophy.
Yeah, it's a really significant shift.
The sources we reviewed talk about moving away from that old goal of eradicate at any cost, which was often brutal,
And sometimes impossible.
toward a new goal to manage the cancer,
Yeah.
maybe indefinitely.
I think this is maybe the biggest aha moment from this whole deep dive. For so long, cancer meant this acute life or death crisis, total victory or nothing.
Right?
But this kind of combination therapy, AII, is helping to turn certain advanced cancers into something more like a manageable long-term chronic condition, like diabetes or heart disease, perhaps.
And that changes everything for the patient's day-to-day life, doesn't it? It's not just about surviving 5 years anymore.
No, the focus shifts. It becomes about long-term stability. The sources use this phrase I found quite striking: living with the tumor.
Living with it, not just fighting it.
Exactly. Patients achieving stable disease, keeping the cancer in check, while maintaining their energy, being able to work, enjoy their lives. The whole journey changes from just destruction and recovery.
Control and reconstruction.
Beautifully put. Sustaining quality of life while keeping the disease managed. Locked down.
That's genuinely paradigm shifting. But okay, the practical question arises immediately. If this is so promising, why isn't it just the standard everywhere? And why the focus on China?
That's a really important question. And the answer seems to be a mix of factors: technology adoption, how quickly regulations adapt, and crucially, specialized training.
Right.
So while the science behind AI and immunotherapy is known globally, the rapid, effective rollout and scaling of the combination, especially the complex AI part, with microcatheters, the advanced imaging, needing coordinated teams.
The practical application.
Yes, that seems to have been really championed and implemented at scale in some of these major Chinese medical centers. They've invested heavily in the tech and the expertise.
So experience matters here.
Immensely. It's why China has become a significant destination for international patients seeking this specific type of advanced care. The volume of patients treated in their large hospital systems builds up a very deep well of experience with these complex procedures.
Can you give us some specific examples? Which institutions are really leading this?
Sure. We're generally talking about large, high-tech hospitals in major cities. In Beijing, for instance, you hear about places like Peking Union Medical College Hospital, very highly regarded, also Beijing Cancer Hospital, and several hospitals affiliated with Peking University.
Okay, established names. What about Shanghai?
Shanghai is another major center for this. You have leading places like Zhongshan Hospital, Shanghai Cancer Hospital, and there's also SPHIC, the Shanghai Proton and Heavy Ion Hospital.
Proton and heavy ion sounds very advanced.
It is. It shows the level of investment in cutting-edge cancer tech. These places have the infrastructure and the patient volume to really push forward with strategies like AII.
And for someone outside China wanting to access this,
Yeah.
it's not straightforward, I imagine.
No, it involves navigating medical tourism, which is complex. The logistics need careful planning.
How does that usually work?
Often, it starts with structured programs. The source material mentioned things like health checkup packages, tiered levels like basic, standard, or more comprehensive ones, sometimes called VIP Jade or Gold, to assess suitability and map out a treatment plan.
So it requires significant resources and coordination.
It definitely does. It highlights that while the medical innovation is exciting, actually delivering it involves a whole other layer of specialized planning and resources.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. We've done a deep dive into arterial infusion immunotherapy, mainly looking at its application in China. We broke down the precision strike of the arterial infusion
Concentrating the firepower locally,
and the intelligence of the immunotherapy, waking up the body's own defenses.
unmasking the cancer systemically.
And critically, how that 1-2 punch synergy works, blasting open the tumor's defenses with AI, allowing the immunotherapy to flood in and be much more effective.
Leading to those significantly improved response rates, especially in tough cancers.
And we saw how these results are driving a really profound philosophical shift in cancer care.
Moving away from purely eradication towards sustainable long-term management, focusing on quality of life, living with the disease under control.
Right. Which leaves us, and you, the listener, with a final thought to perhaps mull over.
A provocative one.
If modern medicine, like AII, increasingly allows us to manage a life-threatening crisis like advanced cancer as a chronic condition, how does that change our whole societal idea of what a cure even means?
Yeah, what does success look like then?
And what new resources, what new support structures, maybe even new definitions of health will we need to really support that long-term stability instead of just chasing the old goal of total eradication, which often came at such a high cost?
It's a future where maybe control replaces crisis. A fascinating question, and one that medicine and society are really just starting to grapple with. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.